Good evening and welcome to the Job Search Solution, the radio program where we talk about looking for a job, changing jobs, changing careers, hiring. And as always, we begin with a prayer. Dear God, grant us your peace and your mercy. Thy will be done. In just a few minutes, Rich Levinsky is going to be with us talking about consultants in the workplace. He's got a great topic this evening. Fantastic one. He always has a good one because he's down there in the trenches. Lately, we've been spending 10 seconds in gratitude. So think of 3 things today that you are grateful for. Go. You just can't be unhappy when you're grateful. Grateful for just the opportunity to be grateful. Oh, we've got a good story this evening. Things never go exactly the way you want them to, especially in a job search or something as emotionally oriented as a job search. We had a client give us a call, a vice president of sales for about a $50 million consulting firm, guy by the name of Peter. We had worked on and off with him a little bit over the years, and they do consulting in a particular type of software around the country, and they were looking for a salesperson that had experience in that kind of software. And it's not rare, but it's not traditional software. It's not easy to find. But he needed that kind of software experience. Well, we were fortunate enough, frankly, because we've been here a long time, to go to our database of about 300,000 candidates. And we were able to produce a candidate that had been a candidate of ours 15 years ago. And he had updated his experience. His name was Joe, and he had exactly the experience that Peter was looking for. They had 2 interviews, and Joe seemed to be absolutely perfect. Joe then interviewed with the president of the company, along with Peter, and it went real smoothly. Joe had a tendency to talk a little too much. He would sometimes explain things just a little too much in depth, but he could do the job. His references were good. He had been out of work for about a year, but they chalked that up to some personal problems he'd had with some death in his family. And they needed his experience because getting experience in the kind of software he had was hard to find. And Peter, to be inclusive, decided that they ought to have Sharon interview him. Sharon was the brand new HR director that they had hired 2 weeks ago. And to be inclusive and to make things hunky-dory in the boat and make everybody happy, to have her interview him. So they lined Joe up to speak to her. Well, apparently Sharon wanted to make a good impression on the company. So according to Peter, Joe was just going to interview with her and talk to her about the benefits of the company and some details that weren't very great, but it was going to be a short conversation. Well, she decided that she was going to make an impression on the company. She was going to interview Joe. She did. She took an hour grilling Joe about what did you do here? What did you do there? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? What did you do here? Why have you been out of work for a year? And I mean, went on and on. Joe wasn't ready for it at all. And the longer she went on, the madder Joe got. And he got not only uncomfortable, but he got upset about it. And it showed. And he got mad about it. And he got real defensive about it. And he started just being real defensive and rather belligerent and rather obnoxious. Needless to say, the thing got off track then. Joe didn't know how to contain himself very well. He knew that he had screwed up, and it wasn't a good idea to do what he did. Well, he immediately called Peter and told him what happened. And we've been the past few days trying to put this thing back together. Peter's trying to figure out a way to do it. He thinks he can. Peter and the president of the company know that the experience that Joe's got is very hard to find. And if they eliminate him, which the human resources director seemed to think would be a good idea, because she says he was awful. I doubt that he was awful. He just probably wasn't ready for this, and he was belligerent about it and mad about it and wasn't prepared and wanted to know why this lady was doing what she was doing. Well, she was just doing her job. Well, the point of this is you're going to get curveballs in the interviewing process. You better be ready for them. Better take a deep breath and be ready for anything thrown at you. Yeah, it's right. It's true. He wasn't ready for what the lady was going to do. Peter wasn't ready for what the lady was going to do. Nobody was ready for what the lady was going to do. She was going to exercise her new authority. She was going to prove she was a true HR director. And she was going to interview Joe and make sure Joe was right for the company. She ended up being entitled to her opinion. She never said that she didn't think Joe would fit in. She just brought up all of the negatives of why Joe wouldn't be good. Peter now has a real problem. Peter can't find what he really wants to find. He can find it in Joe. He wants to hire Joe, and he now has to work around it. We've got a political mess. Things like this happen. You just need to be ready for them if you're a candidate. Nobody ever will tell you that these kind of things will happen, but they do. They happen all the time. In fact, they happen more often than not. So you just got to be ready for them. All right, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. This is Tony Bashara with the Job Search Solution.